Looks like we're live.
Hello there.
Hello.
Yes, we
Before
are.
we get started, Matt, what's going on in your background here? Are you at some
Yeah,
Seattle
yeah. This
party?
looks pretty interesting, huh?
It's
I've
pretty
moved
sweet.
my desk. I've moved my desk around, so that now I've got uh my kind of daily work environment over there, and that's
Right.
where I actually sit most of the time. And then behind me, when I'm working, is this whole setup, which is got lights and
Nice.
microphones. Because before I always had this kind of jumble in the background. I always wanted to make it nicer, but it was Tony's desk. And so now it's my other desk because I have to have two. And but I set it up so that I can now look back at that. I still need to light it a
Hmm.
bit because and
Right.
it's right now it's a mess. So it's better that it's not lit. But if I turned on office lights, you'd be able to see oh, office lights.
Looks pretty sweet.
You'd be able to see back
Oh.
there, but um,
I can see the desk is full of stuff.
full of stuff.
All of your this week's Amazon purchases are on the desk.
Yes, yes. Yes, speaking of this week's Amazon purchases, I
Hmm.
have these inner monitors going on now.
Now, what is an
And
in-ear monitor? I see two
I,
monitors in your background, but I have a feeling you might be
yeah,
talking about
so
something else.
I think that's a goofy term. It's stupid. I don't know. It's headphones. Headphones. I prefer the
Gotcha.
word headphones. I don't know if is there a difference between headphones and in-ear monitors? You're the audio expert.
I mean, I asked that just in case the audience didn't know, but I think the monitor is so that like it isolates the stuff around you. So isolation is pretty important, but also they
Hmm.
tend to be pretty neutral, so that you can hear
Mm-hmm.
yourself without too much bass response. Much to the
Right.
chagrin of, for example, my partner who likes bass and absolutely cannot stand the sound of like a neutral monitor sound because
Oh, okay.
there's bass, but it's not. It doesn't like it doesn't knock you out. You don't fall over. It isn't
Right.
rocking your cranium or anything like that.
Right.
But I think that's why I also use them
Okay.
most of the time when I'm not using these.
Yeah.
So what did you get? What kind of new monitors? And maybe
So,
why? Like why would somebody want one?
so I was on, I do this weekly podcast with Brett Fisher, and
Hmm.
I was going to do it right here because that was going to be like the
Right?
first time I'm actually using the space, but I couldn't get things to work. It didn't, nothing connected right. And I was like, oh, fine. I'm just going to
Oh
use my
shoot!
laptop. I'm going to go into the other room,
Right?
into our living or dining room, and I'll do it from there.
Hmm.
Um, and the Wi-Fi was okay, but I, hooked up a wired connection just to avoid any potential problems. And
Of course, yeah.
I always use my AirPods normally, but that day it decided to keep dropping, and then I would lose
Oh,
audio for every like 3 or 4 minutes. I'd lose audio for about 20 seconds, and then it would come
oh, that's
back.
awful.
It's like, and I was on the line, so I couldn't like troubleshoot to see what's going on because I'm trying to listen in
Right?
to like give good commentary. And it was so frustrating. I was like, okay, I need to have a wired solution. So I looked around
Right.
for what do I own? What wired headphones do I own? And I don't want to have to wear a big pair of headphones. I want to have
Yeah, the
something
common ones. Yeah.
smaller. And so I have a pair of I don't know, Etymotic ER6 that I've
Yep.
had for,
I've heard those are
you
pretty
know,
good.
20 years, 30 years. I got them when I don't know, as a Microsoft employee, we're able to get a really good deal on them, and so I got them then. But
Nice.
I tried listening to them, and I don't know, maybe just the buildup of earwax or something. Just they sounded like
Just
they
gunk.
sounded awful, gunk. They're kind of the whole thing is kind of this shade of yellow that I don't think was original. Um,
Oh
just
yeah,
weird.
clear plastic and silicone will do that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it just looks grody.
Hmm. So then I have my the headphones that came with the Zune, which are great,
Hmm.
but even then the wires are kind of popping out, and you have to like make sure not to twist it much
Right.
because they're disconnecting. And I
Right.
thought, okay, well, fine. Let me just get another pair of headphones. Um, and so I started looking online, and I find this guy Crinical that has like a listing
Okay.
of in-ear monitors. Like, okay, what's this thing? And so I start looking around, and the first one I get is actually not something he recommends, but
Okay.
I
Sometimes that happens. It's like when you're reading the wire cutter and you decide
yeah.
to zig when they zag, or vice versa.
And so my first thing I got was the Mi M6 Pro from Mi.
Right.
Um,
Now I
and
think, and I don't want to like interject here, but like the thing that I don't like about the Me is that they use a specific cable, right? Where like everybody else is it MMCX? The Me's are like these two prong kind of weird thing. Is that correct, or has
hmm,
that changed? Okay,
um, no, the cable that's well, you can maybe see, probably not.
sort of see.
No,
Yeah,
it's
this is perfect for
there's
podcast. To describe in
one
the
pin
podcast,
that
Matt is
goes.
holding a box of headphones.
There's one cable that goes in, into the actual headphones.
Right.
But my problem was that they sounded it's like you're listening to audio normally or on any set of headphones, and then you just take the bass and you turn it way down. And it's like there's no bass
Gotcha.
at all. No,
So
and
there's no
even
bass
the
response. Okay.
no bass response, and everything else just sounded kind of tinny. It's like, oh, these suck. But they come with, I don't know, a dozen different tips inside. So you like try out the different tips, try to
Right.
find one that's what maybe it's going to sound different with the right tip. Because I remember the
Mhm.
AirPods, they definitely sound better for me when I put the largest tip possible on it and then put it. It's like,
Right.
oh, well, all of a sudden it went
Right.
from yeah to amazing. And I wanted to have
Yeah.
kind of the similar sound as the AirPods or better in these in-ear monitors.
I
And
mean,
what I
it's
got,
wired. It should be better, right?
it should be better. And I mean, the wireless part is probably like accounts for, I don't know, 50-60% of the cost. So I should be able to
Right.
get something decent. And okay, so these were $50. So I'm not expecting a whole lot, but the way people are reacting online, it sounds like, I mean, it should be sounding different. So I
I,
thought, okay.
I also agree. Like I tried somebody else's in the office once, and I was like,
Hmm.
I really don't. I'm not
Yeah.
getting what's amazing here.
Yeah.
You listen to a favorite album. For me, it's like Fleetwood Mac Rumors, for example. I can play a couple
Right.
tracks, and I'll know, hey, is this good? Is this bad? Kind of thing. And they
Right.
just sounded kind of tinny, and it just
Yeah.
wasn't for me.
And so I from there I went back to that critical list, and they just got this list of like I don't
Right.
know 1,000 headphones,
Right.
and rated based on
This is awesome.
how good they sound, and there's probably a lot of meaning in his ratings. I mean, I don't really care enough. I just like give me a good pair of headphones, and so I see where the M6
Right.
Pro sits on his list, and then I scroll up and I see there's this other one that's like rated really good and like way better than it should be based on the cost. So
Right.
well, maybe that's a good thing to try. Let me try that. And so I got the CCA CRA, which
Okay.
apparently is supposed to sound a little bit better, but only costs $20. Like, oh, okay, well, let's give that a shot. See if that's any better. And of course, Amazon takes a day or two for it to arrive, and it arrives, and it's like, okay, so it's cheaper because it's got less stuff in it. It's got fewer tips. It's only got one or two tips in there. Um, and
Right.
I thought,
Did it
okay,
come with
fine.
multiple
So I plug it.
cables? Because that's kind of what I was getting at with the MMCX. I like having
Oh,
multiple
so the
cables.
M6 Pro comes with two cables. One that's
Okay.
uh, one that's just a headphone, and one that's headphone with a microphone. So
Right.
okay, that's pretty
That's pretty
interesting.
good.
But this
Yeah.
is just the one cable, just as the headphones. Okay, so I get it, and it's like this is garbage still. And so then I get
What a journey.
um
So we're all gonna watch for these on Amazon Marketplace, right? Because I have a feeling that's where they're gonna.
yeah. I can't find I get these I think well okay, well maybe since they both sound like garbage and they're both supposed to, I mean they have decent reviews, maybe there's something else I'm
Right.
missing. And so I looked to see, are there like tips that I can get that are going to sound better
Right.
when I just attach it? Because
Right.
they're when you take off the tips, you see, oh, it's got the same like nozzle at the end. Well, maybe this is a standard thing. And so I find something from, you know, twist tip or soft tip or something like that. Um, and in fact, let me look at my Amazon list because
I'm
there's a
also like
few
nerd
things.
sniped by this list. I just surprised the ones I like are so far down the list.
Yeah, I mean, so the SE 215 from Shure is like also way down, I think further down
Super far down
than
the
these
list,
are.
and that's what I use. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so I got the um
I was
that's
thinking
not it.
Comply are the ones that I know, but it's not that, right? It's some other brand.
No, I got ones from SpinFit. The SpinFit
Oh, I've heard good things about the
CP145.
Spinfits. Yeah,
And
yeah,
so I
yeah.
thought,
Even
okay,
for, I
let's
think they make ones for AirPods too.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so I got these. I plugged them onto the CCA CRA. I was like, oh my God, these headphones don't suck. They are amazing. This is like mind blowing how good these went from just by changing the tips.
Right,
Changing the tips from the
right.
garbage tips that they ship with it to these spin fits. It's like, what is this? A whole new set of whole new thing. And then I thought, well, am I going to fix these too? So I take the ones that came
Right.
with. Even I mean, this even comes with this Comply earphone tips, which are like a foam.
Right, which is what I think the Sures come with, and that's probably why they sound good to me. It's just the tips.
Yeah, and I hated it. I just didn't
Fair
like
enough.
what it sounded like, and so I put these spin fit things on there. It's like this. I mean, in fact, I wrote an Amazon review that said these things are garbage, and then I put on the spin fit tips on. It was like this is a completely different set of headphones,
Right,
and so I'm
right.
very impressed. But because I was disappointed with the two that I tried, I thought, okay, well, maybe these are garbage, and maybe this purchase of these tips that for $15 more. I mean, $15, that's almost the price of these whole in-ear monitors.
Right,
You know,
right.
because these were like 18 or 17 or $18, $20 with shipping or with tax, I think it was, not shipping. It's
Okay.
Prime. So I get these. Well, at the same time I get the spin fits, I think, okay, well, let me look higher up the list and see if there's something a little bit better. Also really cheap.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to spend $1,000 on this problem. I want to not spend more than say 100 or maybe 200, maybe 300 at the worst. So how high do I have to
Right.
go to get headphones that don't sound like garbage? This is before I knew that
Right.
the spin fits were amazing. And so I see the Moondrop Arias, which actually has a box that looks like this.
Moondrop.
It's got
Nice.
some
That's an
anime
interesting
character
box.
on it.
Very anime manga kind of looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently a
Okay.
lot of the ones from certain companies around a certain price range all have these different characters on them. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
it's like
That's a whole part of
DALL-E 2
Yeah.
generate an anime thing. Okay. All right.
No. So I get these Arias.
Maybe I'm not the
and
target market. I don't know.
these are like a whole new I mean, whereas the
Nice.
M6 feel they're the $50 ones, and they there's nothing about them that feels like quality. They feel cheap
Okay.
through and through. It's like dirt cheap. The cable feels awful.
I hate the cable
headphones
feel when it
themselves,
like rubs on your fabric or something and makes cable
it
noise. Ah, it drives me up the wall.
it's just really bad. It doesn't feel high quality. I have nothing good to say about them. And then
Gotcha.
you know the CCA CRA, the cable feels actually a little bit nicer, even though it's a third the cost. And yeah, it just feels a little bit nicer, but it's still cheap. It's still pretty cheap stuff.
Right.
You break open the Aria, oh, you hear like
Does an Aria play?
angels singing in the background as you open up this box. This box has like this fold, and it comes
I
open,
see that.
and
Yeah.
and
Like, how
and
much is that box worth?
the box, yeah. And then it's got a whole bunch of ear tips. They're all turns out, even with the better thing, all the tips sound like garbage too. So I'm glad I was able to put the spin fit on them, and like, oh my god, these are
Right.
totally different. It even comes with in this box there was a set of tweezers because
Oh, to
there's like the
remove
little
the
filter
yeah.
inside, and you can pluck the filter out and put a new
Hmm.
one on. So it feels like, and then the cable. Well, it's actually attached to me right now, so I can't really. Let me pull the loose one.
He's all wired in, folks. For
I'm
those of
all
you
wired
listening,
in.
Matt is reaching behind his head trying to pull out this cable.
So this cable is like cloth lined.
Oh,
It's
nice.
and it feels great.
Wow.
And
It's got like a
the
fabric sleeve on it. I've noticed
fabric
that's really
sleeve,
handy. Yeah.
and then this piece, the actual headphone unit,
A
it's
driver. Yeah.
metal. It's like metal. It's not
Nice.
plastic. It's got weight to it. It's like, oh,
Feels premium.
this
Yeah.
is
They
awesome.
put a bunch of
Yeah.
lead everywhere.
Yeah. So I'll grow a 30 here soon, but yeah, it
I
just
think lead's
feels
okay. Just don't
yeah, sure.
ingest it.
Don't eat it. Don't eat it. Yeah, okay. Don't lick it. Yeah, so they just feel better. And they sound with the spin fit tips, they sound great.
Right.
And these were $80. So it's still not
Oh,
crazy
that's pretty good.
expensive.
I mean, the SE215s are about that Canadian at least,
Yeah.
so maybe they're
Yeah.
60 US.
Yeah. So I'm really impressed. I mean, the M6 Pro and the CCA CRA are going back as soon as I get around. I've got 30 days, but they're going back. But and the Arias are sticking with me. Though I'm tempted now that I've seen. Okay, well, here's what you get with $80.
Right.
What do you get with $300? I'm kind of tempted
Here
to
we go.
go there
There's going to be a new
at some
YouTube
point.
series, I can tell.
I feel
Matt
like
reviews IAMs.
I feel like I can't quite justify going to that until, let's say that, I need to get my YouTube career to a point where I'm earning more than, say, $4 a month to justify buying $300 headphones.
That's way better than me. That's like 400%. But
Yeah.
okay, so a lot of the things you told me, which are important to me, but maybe less important when I read reviews, are like fit and finish,
Mhm.
comfort, and then sound kind of thing. So like
Yeah.
I think that the weighting, if there's like a spider graph here, to like kind of put it in
Right.
DevOps terms, right? Like if you've got the sound quality, which is definitely
Mhm.
important. Don't
Yep.
get me wrong, but also like
Right.
look and feel,
Yep.
finish. There's the packaging, there's that experience, and then
Yep.
there's like the cost too, right? Because I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
these you're optimizing for lower costs and then
Yeah.
kind of adding the rest to it. So for this price point, what can I get? And listen,
Yeah.
I realize that
And
$20, $30 is a lot for some people, but in terms of
yeah.
headphones, it's pretty good
Yeah.
actually. Like
Yeah.
pretty good.
I mean, I don't know what these were, but they weren't $20.
Those are
I mean,
Beyerdynamics, right? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I feel like
yeah. They're
these were
pretty
like
expensive.
$300 or something on that. I mean, this
And for the
headphone,
spin
this
fits, are
microphone was.
those? Yep,
I mean, this microphone was like
a lot more.
500 euros. So I'm not
For the
averse to
spin
spending
fits,
some
are
money.
they those? Yeah. For the ones that you got that you like, are they still that kind of like foam stuff that my dog likes to eat? Like they get earwax on them and he just
No,
steals
they're
them and eats them.
yeah. I mean, these are silicone, but unlike the silicone that came with, well, every one of them, although all the silicones that came with them are like they're a little bit stiffer, and this spin fit is like
Okay.
super soft, super pliable. It's
Oh,
$15 for four tips, whereas I mean these
wow.
things include 12 tips or something. I mean,
Right.
in for
Right.
free.
But they
So
don't
they're
feel
just
great either. They've got that kind of like,
they got
I
a
don't know.
smooth feel to it, and
Nice.
so
Nice.
these were kind of uncomfortable to like when I put them in my ear and I sat and I was like, after 10 minutes, 20 minutes of like hoping that the sound's going to sound better for some reason, and they never did. I also knew that they were in my ear because they were kind of uncomfortable, and these were, okay, I could see wearing them for an hour, 2 hours, but these
That's not bad.
Arias,
Yeah.
I can see. I mean, they're apart from, turning my head and feeling the other headphone pulling down my back because
Right.
I'm only
Yeah,
wearing
when you're
one.
using monitors, right? Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't notice that they were there. It just feels great.
Gotcha.
So
Now, another question, again for the audience. We had to adjust before the podcast, but like Matt's quite a bit taller than I am. Matt, would you say your ears are also larger? Does it scale with the
Uh,
height difference?
yeah, I mean, I would assume that, I mean, these headphones are designed for what is probably I mean, I don't know where these come from. I think these are made in China.
And you're what, 6'3", I think?
I'm
Is
six
that right?
four, 6'4",
6'4", right? Pretty
a
tall.
little taller than these are also they're designed in the US, made in China, but I think 6'4" is probably a little bit higher than the average even in the US. And so,
Like APAC for sure. Like
yeah.
like straight up,
And these
and
are,
definitely
I
for the
mean, the
US. I think
Arias,
the
the
average is like
Moondrop
what?
Arias, they're definitely designed in, I mean, as soon as you open up the box, um, oh, this is the little card that shows up. I can't quite.
Like the
There we
quality
go.
assurance card, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a quality assurance card. It's all in Chinese, um, but it was quality
A
checked
lot of
by
those
number
good
one.
headphone companies are.
It
Yeah.
was quality checked by
Number
number
one.
one. Yeah, so
The
that's
best
good.
engineer. I
Yep.
do wonder though, like in terms of fit. So that's one of the main things I've noticed with the AirPods is like generally I'm kind of like an average ear size, but I'm a smaller person. I think I'm 5'8" on a good day. But I have small
Hmm.
ears, and I do wonder because Apple has that whole fit thing that you go through.
Hmm.
Interestingly enough, on the AirPods Pro, the newest ones, I could not get like a proper seal, and still I really don't like the quality that I hear from them. But I have
Mm.
heard that adding spin fits to the AirPods Pro
Right.
will make them a lot better, and maybe that's
Yeah.
what I need to go do because I really don't like the audio quality of these for music. It's just
Right.
not that great. It sounds
Right.
tinny to me, and it's just not fantastic. And it could just be the
Yeah.
seal, so maybe that's my problem.
Now, one thing that's going against these Arias is that with the
Hmm.
M6 and the CRAs, the tube where the spin fits kind of fit onto, that tube
Right?
is it's like a little nozzle with a flange on top, or on the end, so that it the thing goes over this thing and then on. It's got a little grip to it, so it doesn't like just pop
Gotcha.
off. Whereas the Arias are just
Okay.
a tube.
Okay.
They're a thicker tube, but they're just a tube. And so there have been times where I don't think the
Pull it
tweezers were
out.
meant for this, but I needed the
Mm.
tweezers to pull out the tip because the tip
Pull
blew
it
up
out of
in
your
the
ear.
and
I mean, that's not great either, right?
and I
This
had
this goes in the review. I feel
I
like
I feel
that's not a
I've
good
done the same
experience if you're
thing with the
sleeping with
AirPods.
them.
I've done the same thing with the
Okay.
AirPods. And that was on a plane, which made it for a really awkward. But the person next to me on
Yeah.
the plane was for like, what's wrong with this guy? Why is he shoving his fingers down his ear? Thankfully, it came out.
Luckily, yeah. But
Yeah.
but that is a good point, right? Because I sleep with my headphones a lot. In fact, I do
Mm,
the SE 215s. The reason I like them a lot is because they're lower profile, so I can like sleep on the
mm,
pillow and it doesn't bother me. But if the headphones came out while I was sleeping, that would not be a good
yeah.
time. Like I'd have a
Yeah.
hard time going back to sleep.
And I think, the first time they've only come out once with these, and I think
Okay,
I hadn't really pushed it on all the way, and so I think that's actually what the
gotcha.
problem was. Because I mean, the nozzle is actually thicker on these than it is on the others, and so there's more friction. But
Right.
yeah, so
Interesting. All right,
yeah,
so SpinFit, everybody,
spin
get
fit,
it. Not
spin
sponsored.
fit.
Not yet.
Yeah, yeah. It makes it makes them actually not sound like garbage, and so I might have to update my Amazon review for this one, saying, "Oh, there turns out they're not garbage. They just ship with garbage tips."
Right. Which I think is
But
pretty
I'm still
common for a
returning it.
lot of these cheaper headphones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the Shuras, they come with complies, but if you don't like
Hmm.
complies, the silicone ones that they ship with are not good. They're actually quite
Yeah.
bad. But
Yeah.
maybe I should try some larger ones there and see if it's a difference.
Hmm. And the spin fits. I mean, one thing that's annoying. I mean, I guess it's.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's annoying or good or bad. But you get for the $15, you get four tips, so two sets, and
Great.
they're in just one size. So you get the large, or you buy the mediums, or you buy the smalls. And if you got the wrong size, well, then buy the mediums, and then maybe you got the right size. And if you still got the wrong size, though, now you're $45 in buying. Because I don't know if there are some things I'm okay with returning. Some things that like go in my body.
I was wondering where you're going with that. Yeah, yeah, not.
Can I return it?
Yeah,
Should I?
you could.
Like
Yeah, exactly.
I like kind of like underwear. I mean, do you return your underwear? I don't know.
No,
Socks?
no.
I don't know. I don't. And then like, is that something that's then sold on Amazon warehouse? And then I don't know if that's something I want to buy, or they just burn it. I don't know. It's like buying
It's kind of
diapers. You can't return those, even if they haven't been opened.
really.
Yeah, we have found
Hmm.
out many times.
Mm. Gray market diapers. I like it.
Gray market, literally gray. Yes, yes.
Headphones.
Oh yeah.
So
So
listen, again, for those just listening to the podcast, can you explain to us, Matt, what happened to your hand? Your left hand looks like you've been in a fist fight with a bear or something. What happened there?
yes, I had an accident with my lawnmower.
Oh no! Did you fight the robot lawnmower? I knew this would happen. It's Rocco's basilisk all over
So
again. What I told you
it's
was respect the robot overlords because they will take over at one point.
so I that's what I said to my mother. We have dinner at my mother's place every Monday night, and she said, "What happened to
Yep.
your hand?" And I started to explain. And she said, "Oh no, don't tell me, don't tell me." And I said, "I was trying to fix my lawnmower." And said, "No, no, 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 no." So we have a Works, I think it's Works Landroid Medium, and
Okay.
the way this thing works is the base is somewhere in your yard along the edges of your yard.
Great.
And when it's time to mow, it looks at, when was the last time it rained. And then a few hours after that, it'll start mowing the lawn. And it is, when you think of your iRobot vacuum or your
Yep.
Roborock vacuum, you can be frustrated when it seems to go in random patterns all around your room. Um,
Right.
and but I think that frustration is not accurate because if you are frustrated by that, you will be even more frustrated by a robot mower because at least the
Okay.
Roborock and the iRobot like map out the room, and once they figure out the room, then they start doing these sweeps across the room. The mower just goes to the edge of your lawn and then chooses a random direction, goes that way, chooses a random direction, goes the next way, random direction, next
All
way.
right.
And so it's
That's
totally
a
random.
strategy.
And so when we first set it up, it was super frustrating because there was this like, I assume it's the mathematical center of the yard where there was this clump of grass that was tall for like 2 weeks, where it just refused to go over it. But anyway, the way it knows that it's hit the edge of the yard, there's not a wall there, and it
Okay.
doesn't know what's going to happen. I mean, I guess it could detect a fence or some steep incline, but we just have this berm where there's some grasses that grow on top of that, and within
Great.
as long as you're not on that berm, it that's grass, that's the lawn. But it can go up hills, so it doesn't know that that's the edge. So what you need to do is there's this wire that comes with the mower, and you line your yard about 9 inches. Put this wire about you're supposed to put about 9 inches away from the edge of your yard, and
Okay.
the mower is going to go up to that wire, and when it feels the wire there, it turns and it goes in a different direction. So I put it about 9 inches. I mean, I didn't take a tape measure throughout the whole yard, but I kind of
Yep.
like, okay, that's, yeah, that was 9 inches, about
Ish.
that far.
Yeah.
And so I put the wire through, but our lawn on the edge kind of goes down a little bit of a slope. Not like a, I mean, it's like goes down like 3-4 inches. Um,
Right.
and I put there were some places where I put the cable maybe 4 inches from where the turn goes from grass to rocks, and that would be enough for it to just get stuck, and it would go down. It
Ah,
couldn't
shoot.
get enough traction to come backwards, and then so it would just, it's not super heavy, and so it would just start spinning wheels, and that means as it gets wetter towards
Right.
winter, it would start just
Yeah.
digging into the grass and make these big mud pockets. So I'd have this basically line of mud all around the yard, a set number of
Sounds
inches
amazing.
from the, yeah,
What's
it's
not to
just
like?
awesome. And so I knew I needed to, it's this task I've known I've needed to do for 8 months. And on Sunday morning, or Saturday morning, woke up at 6 a.m. It's like, okay, I'm going to tackle this now. I went out 6
It's
a.m.
happening
and
today.
started digging up the wire and putting it back down a little bit further away from the edge. And now it goes around and it does everything about the lawn except for the very edges. And each week I can tackle it with a weed whacker on the edges, and that's fine.
Okay. And just quickly for those that don't use Freedom
Oh,
units,
yeah.
I did some research here. So it's the difference was between 20 centimeters and 10 centimeters, I think, between 9 and 4 inches, roughly. Does that sound about right? Okay.
Yeah, that sounds right. So how did I do this? I don't really know,
Right.
but I was
That was the longest lead up. I'm not even sure what happened.
So
It looks pretty painful.
Yeah, it is, because that's right where you bend.
Yeah.
So this took about to pull the wire up and put it back down in the right place, took a good 3 hours. And so
Okay.
it's not like it's down on the ground. So I'm down on my hands and knees for 3 hours, going all the way around. And finally you get to the base unit, and I needed to because I've got a slightly smaller area, I've got to now
Mhm.
cut the wire and pull the sheath off, so I can reinsert. Basically, at that point, it's like a speaker wire going into a speaker, where you just kind of hold down the
Right.
tab, shove it in, and let go of the tab.
Mhm.
And I think it was somewhere around that point, I must have just had my hand down like this, and I scraped it on some. I don't even know when it happened. It was like
Oh, okay.
all of a sudden, it's like, oh, my hand feels a little tingly, and I look down, and there's like blood going down. I was like, wow, how'd this happen? And
It
it's
doesn't
covered
look like
in
you
dirt.
scraped it, like you dragged it, like a
Yeah,
knuckle
yeah,
dragger, so that you dragged it on the
yeah.
ground.
So I don't know. I don't know how it happened, but it hurts. And so we've
Okay.
gone from we realized last night that probably, I mean, the problem with knuckles that are it's that they're constantly bending, and so every
Right.
time I bend, I feel it. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah.
because I guess it dries out. So I put Neosporin on it, but then the skin just
Right.
kind of dries out. I mean, it dries out.
It's absorbing it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have we have a 4-year-old at home, and one thing that you have when you have 4-year-olds, or 2-year-olds or 1-year-olds or any small
Children. Yeah.
thing, um, you have this miracle drug called, I don't even know what the full name is, Aquaphora, I think it's called. Um, we
Mhm.
just call it Aqua because that's what Stella called it at some point. Aquaphor, I think it's
I,
called.
I I think it's Aquaphor. Yeah.
Yeah,
PHOR. Yeah.
yeah, and but it's just this
It's
kind of
Eucerin. I've used
Vaseline.
it as well. Eucerin's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a Vaseline, but with a little bit more moisture in it, and it's like it heals everything. I mean,
Mhm.
it's like this miracle stuff. I don't know what's in it, but it's
It
like
is.
heals everything. And so I started putting that on there, and it's feels so much better now because it's not as dry.
Excellent.
Um,
What a wild
yeah,
ride.
so
I,
so yeah,
but
that's
you know, So I hate to say this, but this is kind of like again the DevOps thing. So you spent some money on a robot thing. The question I've always got is like, is what do you think the return on investment is here? Did you spend more
Oh,
work
huge.
tearing up this wire than you would have actually, mowing your own
I-
lawn, or do you think that it was money well spent, or is there like novelty because it's kind of automated as well?
I'd say my only regret about the lawnmower is that I didn't do it before.
Okay,
So
all
I'd
right,
say a robot mower for most people is life changing. It is
gotcha.
spectacular to have. As long as you get this wire the right distance, and you don't really know what the right
Right,
distance is until you've done it wrong. Um, so because I mean it's so here on Bainbridge Island, it rains quite a bit, but then it doesn't. And then um,
mhm,
the grass right now is growing really fast. And so if I want to
right,
keep it at a good shortish kind of level, I need to be basically pulling out the lawnmower every 2 or 3 days at the moment.
right. Every
I
two
ain't pulling
days is
out the
generally,
lawnmower
yeah,
every two or
yeah,
3 days. I don't want to
yeah.
do that. So
Well, I will say, like, hold up, because there's like a labor force in your house that's like it's coming, it's in the pipeline. Yeah, you're
yeah,
she'll get there at
the
some point in
grass
time.
will get to 15 feet before she's old enough to
By the
take the
time,
lawnmower.
exactly.
And then in time till then, this lawnmower, this robot lawnmower, what's great about is that it doesn't have a battery life to go for hours and hours. It can go for like, I don't know, hour and a half before it needs to come
That's
back
pretty
to the
good.
base. And so it goes out 3, 4 times a day, every day. And it's always a constant, nice level. It's like there's always somebody mowing. And it's super, super cool. I mean, our vacuums, our robot vacuums, we have one from Roborock and we have one from iRobot. I had two
Okay.
Roborocks, but then the, the one of them broke a year and a day after we bought it, so the warranty
Oh
was
no.
gone. I thought,
Just
okay,
just
fine,
sorry about that.
I'm gonna get the iRobot because well, it's American made, so it's gonna be better, right? Garbage. The Roborock is so much better in every way. It is so much
Really?
more.
Okay.
It it cleans better. It sweeps up better. The brushes are better. Um, you replace a brush on the Roborock once every 6 months or so. You replace the brushes
Okay.
on the iRobot every 2, 3 weeks because they keep breaking. Um, and I think we've gone through a dozen of these brushes. Um, and I mean, it's great if you don't have things on the ground, but that's what a vacuum is for, to pick up all the things on the ground. Like
Great.
hair and I mean, all sorts of, I mean, kids leave all sorts of crap
Cheerios,
on the
probably.
floor.
Yeah. All
Cheerios, yeah.
types of stuff. Yeah.
So, the Roborock did such a much so much better a job of creating the room, the map of the room. And then one of the things that I was thinking was a plus for the iRobot is that they have a better warranty, but they don't let you sign up for the
Mm.
warranty except in the app. And so you sit there waiting for the app to tell you time to purchase this
Oh.
extended warranty, and it never shows it to
Oh.
you. And then so you're like willing to spend a little bit more money on this extended warranty, but it never showed up.
Can't.
And then when you reach out, they said, well, you got to us at too late. It's like, well, because your app never let me try to, I want to give you money. And so now we got the same warranty as we had with the Roborock. It costs more, um,
Hmm.
and it's nowhere near as good a product. Now, that said, the Roborock has this better model, the S7 and I think S8, which has like a mop built
Right. I'm
in.
looking at those now. Yeah. It looks
Mop,
like you're
mop,
cleaning up like liquid spills. Yeah.
yeah, it's garbage. We
Oh,
bought the S7.
shoot. Because they get a bunch of like fancy graphics of like water splashes and stuff. It
Yeah.
looks amazing, no?
So the S7, it's got this pad on the back of, I think it was the back of the device, that is like a semicircle. Um, and And maybe if you have like a super shiny floor, it would do a good
Hmm.
job, but we don't have that. And so it will spray the liquid. It's got a liquid reservoir, and it sprays that liquid
Hmm.
onto the pad, and then eventually that water is supposed to like just spread around on its own. But
Gotcha.
I mean, we kept trying, and it would just basically create these lines of moisture every like 8 inches
Just
as it's trying to go
trails.
around the room, and that's all it did. And it's like, well, this is stupid. Um, yeah, I'm not a fan. And we bought
I hear you.
the extra big reservoir where it goes into the base and it like refills and empties, and no, worthless. It was like
No good.
it was like $1,000 for that thing, and it it vacuums a whole lot worse than the S6 or S4, or I think S4 or S6 that we have. That is like the pinnacle of robot vacuums for now. iRobot is just, I mean, the other thing about the iRobot, it's louder. It is loud. It's a
Oh, really?
loud vacuum. When the Roborock moves around, you could forget that it's there. You might not even notice it's
That's
going.
pretty cool. Especially
So
when
the
we're doing
iRobot,
something like a podcast or something like that, right?
yeah, yeah, the iRobot, you hear it. It is making a hell of a noise. So nobody better be home or sleeping because it's making a racket.
That's awesome. At some point,
The
I'll do
robot
that. Like right
mower,
now, I don't know.
super quiet.
I like to think I take pleasure in sort of the tedium. And listen, I don't do a lot of house chores. I'm trying to get better. But
Yeah.
vacuuming is one of those things I don't mind doing, just because like our place is pretty small and I can do it often. And then like our dog, because he doesn't get angry at the vacuum anymore, will get a
Mhm.
treat, so he'll follow me around. And I think it's kind of enjoyable. But it takes about 5 minutes. If it took 50 minutes, then maybe like I need to listen to a
Yeah.
podcast or something like that.
Yeah.
But for like mowing the lawn, when I was younger, like I lived on a farm, so we had a massive lawn. But like 3 hours of lawn mowing is just not fun for
Mhm.
anybody. It's just
No.
awful. And I can
I mean, if
totally
you
understand,
unless you've
like,
got like
because
a
you mowing your lawn's one thing, but then you gotta like weed whack and all the
yeah.
trimming and all this
Yeah.
other stuff that nobody wants to do.
Yeah. Unless you've got a big lawn and you got like one of those ride-on mowers, I think that might be fun, but I've never owned one of those.
We had one of those. It was kind of cool,
Yeah.
and I listened to I
Okay.
think it was CCR on repeat. And
Yeah.
back in
Yeah.
the day, I don't know what it was. Probably on some Sony Walkman.
Yeah.
That's how old I am. But I do like I understand that point. I think other people in the audience may say like, hey, having a lawn is a luxury, or maybe we don't need lawns. But I think the fact of the matter is like these days in a lot of how do we call these subdivisions? Like you
Mhm.
have to keep your lawn looking a
Oh
certain
yeah.
level,
Yeah.
and that it can feel like a chore. I can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we don't have any requirement to keep our lawn down, but
Okay.
we've got this lawn. It
Okay.
would be great to be able to use it. Um,
I've seen those
yeah.
Reddit like passive aggressive notes like please keep your lawn in
Mm,
check, sign your
yeah.
neighbors kind of thing. I would be
Yeah.
mortified if that ever happened to
Yeah.
me.
Where I grew up on this island off
Hmm.
the coast of Miami called Key Biscayne, and there you had to have there was no like lull or thing in place, but when grass got long, you were told. And I think it's even worse
Was it
now.
HOA?
It's not an
Is that the right
HOA
term?
because there is no HOA. I mean, I think there's some parts of the island that
Okay.
have that, but
Homeowners
but
Association for those. Yeah.
yeah, it it's when I grew up there, it was just a regular community of like real working people. It has since become since the era of the original Miami Vice. I mean, that's anytime if you watched Miami Vice when it first came on in the 80s
Yeah.
or whatever, uh, the
Right.
drug lords lived on Key Biscayne. I mean, they all did because that was and so I mean, when my parents first bought their place there, it was just normal. Everybody had normal cars. By the time
So,
I
so
left for
now it's
high school
all
or
drug
college,
dealers.
well, yeah, I mean, there were by the time I remember when I was 15, I helped mow the lawn for a friend who had, a couple extra rental properties. And he had one rental property that was on a road where as soon as you got onto that road from either side of that block, you were being watched. And you were being
Oh,
watched by
interesting.
like security teams because everybody on that road was either a former Nicaraguan or
Something.
Colombian like
Okay.
dictator
Something
or the
dubious.
family
Yeah.
of them.
Oh,
It's like,
wow.
and so they were like, don't do anything
I
stupid.
see. I thought you were gonna say it was more like bourgeois or something, a little bit more bougie.
No, these were
Yeah,
like
that's a whole other
dictators.
level.
People who had
Interesting.
like stolen all
At
the money
least
from
one.
the
Yeah.
country and like moved to America with,
Retired in the Keys.
yeah, yeah. So
This place looks really
fun stuff.
nice. I pulled up Key Biscayne. We can put it in the podcast notes, but like it's
Yeah,
got a video and stuff. It looks quite good.
yeah. Uh, yeah, it used to be part of Miami, and then they decided to make it their own little city. Um,
Do your own
a
thing.
lot of uh, I can either
Well,
confirm or deny that some of the members of the local government may be open to taking money for certain types of things. So hey,
I
I
see.
I
I
don't
was
know.
going to try to turn this a positive way and talk about the coastal barrier reef that can be found off the Key Biscayne.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
pretty neat.
Yeah. Penny Camp National Park is right there. I mean, it's right on. I mean, Key Biscayne is right on it. So it's a beautiful area if you like
According
that
to
kind of
Condé
sun.
Nast, it's one of the best beaches in the nation. So yeah, definitely sounds like a cool tourist spot.
I think somebody got somebody's pockets got lined for that accolade.
Yeah, exactly. So, some other wheels were being greased here.
Yeah, we'll give you a free 4 nights in our hotel if you say that we're awesome beach. I mean, it's nice, but I wouldn't say
Maybe it's Condé Nast.
I'd say there's some beaches in North Carolina or South Carolina I think would be far nicer, but hey.
I mean, it is summer, so everyone's looking for a beach these days.
Yeah.
Did you? Sorry, we ended up making you talk this whole time, but did you have any
Yeah,
recommendations other than what we covered this week? My apologies.
Yeah, let's see. Well, do you have any? You should talk
I
too.
do. Yeah, I'm happy to talk. So I think this week, once in a while, I'll go and look at it's Yahoo Auction Japan. So in Japan, like eBay is not as popular as Yahoo Auction, funnily enough. Of all the properties Yahoo has, my understanding is that APAC is kind of where they make a lot of their money these days in terms of like retail and mail and stuff like that. For like it's a household name. Whereas in North America, I really don't think Yahoo is any longer. That being said, if you're looking for things that are used in Japan, Yahoo Auction's pretty good. And I like to think that I'm recycling or reusing and stuff like that. But what I generally look for, and this is going to sound awful, but I look for things that are labeled junk. Because in Japan, junk could mean it has one scratch on it. Could also mean completely non-functional, but you pay the same price regardless. So I generally will buy junk items from Japan. And one of the junk items that I got, it was pristine condition, aside from like some really bad sticky tape glue on the back of it, unfortunately, that I've got to figure out how to remove. But it's an Instax camera from 2002, actually. So it's pretty old. However, pristine condition. It still works better than the newer Instax cameras, and it takes massive Instax. So Instax is Fuji's answer to Polaroid. So it's instant film.
Okay.
So it looks like a Polaroid, but you can't call it a Polaroid. Now the main difference between Instax Wide, which is this big format, it's like a 3x5. It's pretty big actually in terms of like the actual print that you get out, but it is horizontal as opposed to the Polaroids vertical. But otherwise, they're very similar in shape. But this one has autofocus, and none of the cameras after that had focus. They had like zone focus, so it would be like I don't know f/22 or something, and you had to just pick where it was in the frame. But it's pristine. It was very cheap compared to like what you buy for it now. In fact, it was about the same cost as the new Instax, but pretty cheap. And it got here in 2 days from Japan, which was like they FedExed it. So I bought it through like I think they're called a proxy service. So basically, you go and have them bid on it for you, and then they kind of handle the rest for you. The packaging was awesome. So I guess the recommendation here is that the company is called Buyee, Buyee. But basically, if you're on Yahoo Auction Japan, it's this massive banner ad across every page that you go to. They obviously want you to be using the service if you're outside of the country. And it works amazingly. You pay a bit of a premium for the shipping and packaging and stuff like that, but like you're still saving money at the end of the day. and you can find junk items. Again, I'm using air quotes here. Junk might be just a
Right.
little scratch or some dust. A lot of the times for cameras, at least, it's like corroded battery contacts, which I can clean.
Hmm.
I'm comfortable,
Yeah.
putting some isopropyl alcohol on there and cleaning them up. And you can get like film cameras for a song, which I know the kids are all about these days, going back to film.
Right.
But yeah, it's been awesome. So I got like 4 film cameras, came through the mail.
Oh, wow.
3 of them worked. One of them definitely did not work. And if I had to actually look at the pictures, I would have realized like they said it didn't work. Actually, they said you turn it
Right.
on, the lens won't come out. So like obviously it's busted. That's
Hmm.
on me. But we're talking like $20 for a film camera, which
Wow.
is impossible to find out.
Wow. Yeah.
That's my
Well,
recommendation.
that's pretty cool.
Buy.com. Yeah.
Wow. That sounds pretty good. I remember seeing in my YouTube recommendations that came across, in the last couple weeks, there was a video about the last Polaroid factory. And it was like a
Oh
walkthrough of
yeah.
the last Polaroid factory. I haven't watched it, but
Yeah.
it's,
I feel like you and I get the same recommendations, probably because we
yeah.
do a
Yeah.
podcast together. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's In an Instant is the video, and he did a tour of what is now Polaroid, but used to be Polaroid
Yes.
Originals, and prior to that, it was Impossible Project. And he went
Yeah.
through the whole thing. The reason I mentioned this is because I think I'm going to meet this person when I'm in New York, but I'm going
Hmm.
to Polacon, New York, which is like an instant film society kind of event, and that person is involved in that society, which is pretty interesting. The tour was good. There's a lot. There's just
Yeah.
like a massive factory, and it's got ebbs and flows in terms of like what you might be interested in. But they go all the way down to like form packing the like the
Hmm.
plastic that holds the film, and then they talk about like the chemical pods and some of
Right.
the different chemical mixes, and then talking
Hmm.
about the history, like why certain lines of film are now discontinued and they can only
Right.
do some other new ones, like that kind of thing.
Huh.
But worth a watch. Wouldn't say it's like scintillating or anything like that.
Right.
Entertaining for sure, but it's a long
Yeah.
video. It's almost an hour long.
Wow. Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything other than that. Oh, one of the things
There's a ton of
we
headphones,
mentioned last week, and I eventually got the
right?
name to you, was this is that Paralogix clip
Right.
for, and so it's this was something to use on the plane that is going to hold your iPhone or your phone, and so it basically just comes up
So cool.
like that, and you push this on, and there that will go onto your seat tray, or onto the seat back. Maybe there's a clip, a piece of plastic or something that this can clip onto, and then your phone fits into the standard thing here, and that's it.
That's really
That's the
cool.
whole thing, but it's built very well. It's built very solidly,
Right.
and so that's really a neat thing. But one thing I
That's
got
awesome.
very recently, more to hold a phone. I wanted to have a way to, like, I'm at this desk and having this camera, I have a GH6, right, or GH, sorry, not GH6, GH5 right in front of me. But sometimes it's nice to have, my iPhone. The iPhone 14 camera is just amazing. And so sometimes it would be useful to have the phone just for, doing something quick. And
Right.
I've got this little guy right here.
Oh, we're kind of losing you there. You speak directly into the microphone.
No, because I'm going. Okay, so I
We need
have
to get one of those like roadcasters so we can play sound effects while you're trying to find stuff.
2 minutes later. No, so I've got, first off, this thing. I don't know
The
what
clamp.
that's called.
Yeah.
The clamp. It
Never
just
heard of
kind of
clamp.
sticks on the desk, and there's a hex entry there.
Yep.
And then this piece
It's like
is
a junior pin, I think.
what, a junior pin,
And it's
whatever.
also a junior pin. Yeah.
And then, but this doesn't have the hex. It's just the circle thing. So I can mount that to my desk. So now that's mounted stiffly to my desk. And then I've got this gooseneck, which is like super stable, super amazingly stable. Okay, so it's got one end that's the hex that will fit right into that here.
Yep.
And I can lock it down. And so now this is pretty stiff. It doesn't move. So it would be great to have some sort of a phone mount on here that basically I can then mount it. And so I was thinking, well, I've got I probably have a few on this desk where it's this little expansion thing that just clamps down on your phone. But is there a better way? Well, it turns out there are
I
these
wish you were
things
closer. I've got one like right here.
Yeah, I've got a few of them.
This screws into that, yeah.
Yeah, I've got actually a really good one. Hold on. On here, this is a little compact tripod that I carry around, and in here, there's this opens up, and actually I've taken it out. So
this is definitely one of those episodes where you're gonna have to watch it on YouTube, folks. Sorry.
out of this comes this little iPhone holder, and then the iPhone holder has a Arca Swiss end to it, and it fits into the Arca Swiss clamp right here. And so then you've got this, and so that's pretty cool. And this expands out, but isn't there a better way to do this? And so here is my better way. Okay.
That looks like a lens cap. Am I wrong?
Yeah. So
it's like a magnet mount.
Screw this on.
I like
and
this.
Now MagSafe.
Very cool. So
and
is that it's MagSafe, right? Nice.
MagSafe, yeah. And
very cool.
So I can take it off and lights on.
But I think this is it the Manfrotto arm? Because I've got a couple, but I did notice that some of them there's like a heavy duty one, and then there's a light duty one.
This is a very heavy duty one. I mean, it's not going to carry a big camera, but it's great for this, or for a microphone, or for.
I've got my light just behind the camera on one.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
So
perfect
it's probably 1/2 inch thick and very stiff. And I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I'm tapping it. It's not. I mean, it's shaking, but it's not huge.
Yeah,
and I think most goosenecks would be like,
right.
But this is nice. And then this MagSafe is like, oh my god, MagSafe. Who would have thought? It's useful.
So handy.
Now,
for the kids out there, MagSafe used to mean something different.
Yes.
But the MagSafe on the back of the phone, I found has been a massive thing. Like even just having the batteries that kind of like attach via MagSafe is very handy.
Yeah.
It's quite strong.
So yeah, this little thing, it's just MagSafe on one end, and then lots of different holes on the other side.
Very cool.
And this is amazing. This is so. And so I mean, I could screw this onto here. And make this tripod now MagSafe.
I like it.
Eventually I'll get it in there, but yeah. So that was my new find. I'm pretty excited about. Now I can't get this thing off, but yeah.
Nice.
Let's see what's going on here.
All right, folks, get your grip at Matt's Amazon affiliate store.
Yeah. So I guess we went over.
Not too bad actually. We started a little bit late, so we got a bit.
So often with these we have like, okay, here's a report we're going to talk about. Here's whatever we're going to. This time we had no idea, and actually on the Brett Fisher's podcast I do,
the better podcast.
We weren't really sure what we were going to talk. It was like a general Q&A talk. And he said, well, because, it might be that nobody asked a question, so we better have something lined up just in case. And so we had like this series of things we would talk about. And then it turned out we got like 2 questions on the chat, because there were actually people that show up and like ask questions in the chat, which is something hopefully one day we'll have.
Other than your mother?
other
Totally.
than your mother. And so these two people asked a question, and those two questions that filled the whole hour. It was great.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like when that happens. We'll have to spread the
it's nice.
spam out a little further
Yeah.
this time. I did
Yeah,
retweet. I don't know. My relationship with Twitter is kind of not great right now. I'm still waiting for Blue Sky or something, but I'm kind of fed up with Twitter.
your did we
I don't know.
did we talk
Yeah,
about Blue
go
Sky?
ahead.
Did we
We
talk
did
about
not,
Blue
but
Sky?
I would like to next week because I'm not invited yet, and I'm fishing for an invite once I get in there. I've been told as of like today, it's kind of hit feature parity of the old Twitter, so I'd like to try it out now.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that's
there we
my
go. Someone's on Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
All right.
I don't have any invites yet.
And I'm all about what was the open source alternative. Like I understand Mastodon. In fact, having a
Mastodon,
decentralized social network is a good idea. However, I also just want to have something simple. I can just like log into it.
Yeah, I mean Mastodon. I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't get it. I've been on Mastodon for a year, 2 years. I just don't get it. I can't get it. I don't know. And Blue Sky looks. It looks like it's still.
I hate the name, but we'll start there.
Yeah.
I really dislike
and the whole.
Name. And then no one wants to say Blue Sky, so you say what? BS? What is Skeet? What?
What's a Skeet? That's.
Oh.
It's so stupid. It sounds so stupid. Yeah. But hey, it's it's not Twitter, so that's good. It's that's probably its biggest claim to fame. It's kind of like Twitter, but it's not.
Yeah, I don't want to open up a whole can of worms, but when news organizations are leaving a platform, then I start to
I saw that soon after I joined, AOC joined, and so I'd like to think that I was the reason.
All right, tech bro.
Yeah.
Did you give her a warm welcome?
Yeah. No.
This is it Ocasio-Cortez? Is that I forgot the first name.
I think that's so. Yeah.
It's American politics, right?
Okay. American politics, yeah, sorry.
No, it's totally fine. I think I know this person because they were the first. Yeah, the first person like on Twitch during the pandemic. Ran a Twitch stream, which I thought was pretty cool. That's like a nice hello fellow kids kind of move.
Yeah.
All right, now that we've delved, we should probably call it there. Now that we've delved into politics. All right, so
cool.
Shall we find the button?
This was fun. Yeah. Oh yeah, let's find the button.
Thanks so much, Matt.
We didn't have there were not a single comment.
No comments. I gotta spread the spam out. I'll hit up Facebook and LinkedIn next time. We'll at least get some of the family members in.
You didn't get your mother to join. I'm so disappointed.
I know, it's so sad. Maybe she's not feeling well. I should probably call her.
Maybe you should call her. You should call your mom.
Call your mom.